Hey, you've summoned a lesser maker. Today, I'm not quite sure what I want to build. I got a airbrush from a company called Neo Eco, and so we're going to be trying this out today. But first, I gotta build something to paint. So let's roll on the exploration chart. This is kind of a build challenge I like to do. And whenever I'm stuck creatively, this helps me out. So I got the exploration chart right here, and we're gonna roll 6 dice and then see what we come up with. All right, 3 threes, that's the prisoner. A muffled sound comes from one of the buildings inside. You can find a group of finely dressed people who have been locked in a cellar. Perhaps they are prisoners taken by cultists, ready to be sacrificed during Gabinin snatched. I think the theme is they get sacrificed. So, in some of the concept art for Mordheim, there are these wagon wheels used for executions. Yeah, right here. It's used for executions for highwaymen and robbers. If at any point you're interested in this, they're actually pretty competitive as far as price goes. There's going to be a link in the description and in the pinned comment. Know that if you're supporting Neo Eco, you're also supporting me. So I'm going to start off by making some wagon wheels. A couple months ago, I built a witch wagon for White Dwarf build guide. I made an SVG file that I could use on my laser cutter. So I'm just cutting out a bunch of them right now, and I'm just gonna make a whole bunch while I'm at it. That way in the future, I don't have to get out here and laser cut some more. While I was in the garage, I found like an Army Men cowboy set I bought for this wagon. So I went ahead and chopped off the wheels here, and I'm going to be using these two. I think having various sizes makes a lot of sense, and it will add a bit more variety. I have a previous build where I make some pipe cleaner trees, and I really love how these turned out. I'm going to be building one of these with the pipe cleaner tree and one with like a stick that I found while on a hike. So there's going to be some options here. You don't have to do it one way or another. I thought I'd show you this just in case you don't know how to do it. There's a video you can look back on. It's a really neat hack I learned from Campaign Terrain on Instagram. Something I'm going to be doing quite a lot is breaking these 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch balsa wood dowels, square dowels in half, and that gives the wood like an uneven, almost hewn texture. So, and it gives me twice as much material to work with, which is nice. And then I just finished the rest of this platform with coffee stir sticks, and then with some other dimensional timbers, I made this ladder, and I just glued it in. And I think this one turned out really good. It's a good proof of concept. Now I got this 3D printed scatter terrain from, I think it was Temu or something. And I just assembled some of this like plankage and made a barricade. This one was much simpler, but I do like this one a lot. I think this one will get a lot of tabletop usage, especially on some of the boards where there's not a ton of space for things like this. This next one, I wanted to be like a hangman's tree, so it's kind of like a base of operations. My idea is I might want to incorporate this on a board, and typically I don't go with modular stuff because I always forget it. But I want this one to look like a planter, and I might incorporate this on one of my boards in the future. So that's kind of where my mindset is right now. I just started putting a bunch of these planks together. I made like a 1/3 foot, kind of tripoded out, And then I ripped these into boards again, and then I just spaced them out to kind of fill out the area. And then to fill in the gaps, I used the coffee stir sticks, and then just kind of let it, just wherever they fit, I put them in. So here's kind of like a preview of what to do with the pipe cleaner trees. All you need is some pipe cleaners and a heat source. So you're just gonna singe off. You're not trying to like burn the pipe cleaner fur off. You're trying to melt it in, kind of like shrink wrap it. And that makes a really hard shell. And it also adds like a rope texture. So I'm gonna be using this as rope for here. And I just twist these together into a noose, and then after that I kind of kit bashed a little skeleton with some Oathmark skeletons, and so I kit bashed some more skeletons too on the top of the rest of these. This was kind of fun, kind of using a miniature kit, kind of as it was unintended. On the Oathmark kits, all their feet are connected to bases. You kind of have to trim around the feet and cut off the base thickness. It's a little tricky, but once you do it once or twice, you can kind of get the hang of it. I really like doing this type of thing. The little details are really fun, and this one's a little gruesome, but I think it's really effective and gets the point across. I am really happy with how this turned out. I wouldn't have expected that I would be building a hangman's tree and all this other stuff. And that's my favorite part of this challenge. In the process of learning an airbrush, I found that watching live streams like Miniac's live stream on Twitch is super helpful, because you get to see how they clean it and how they use it in real time. Because I'm not quite used to this airbrush yet, I want to make sure I know how to use it and how it's supposed to perform before I do anything else. And so to have a really good baseline before I gunk this thing up with primer, I just figured I'd stick with the base coat here. That way I know how it should perform. And I want to say this, like I'm being completely honest here. I would tell you if this thing was bad. I'm actually really impressed with this thing. I've bought an airbrush for the same price that they're selling theirs for, and it was garbage. And I was a little hesitant getting this thing because of that experience, but their airbrush is $40, and an Iwata airbrush is like $70. So I do think that this one is actually really great. So you could follow the link in the description, but of course do your own research. It comes with extra like needles and nozzles and a bunch of extra spare parts. Like, my experience is actually really good, and I don't say that lightly. So obviously I'm using this for a zenithal highlight, getting a spray bottle so that you could just squirt directly into like the paint reservoir. I don't know what the names of these things are called, but like directly into where the paint feeds in. That way it kind of knocks things loose. And then on top of that, the airbrush needle can go out the front. So all you have to do is take off the needle and wipe it clean, and then just pop it right back in. So that was really easy too. Overall, this experience was really great. Something I wanted to try was using our Army Painter speed paints. It just kind of did a really nice even coat, which is a method of painting, but I didn't really enjoy the result, because when it pools, you get to see a little more contrast. Maybe the airbrush medium had to do with the effect that I got, but I just wasn't really happy with that result. I had a comment maybe 2 weeks ago that someone said that I really needed to get an airbrush because they exclusively use dollar store paint. And as an avid dollar store enjoyer, I had to try that. So with my airbrush medium and some dollar store paint, I just sprayed it kind of like a highlight over all of this stuff. Mostly I tried to aim for just the planks, but I'm sure you know how that went. I actually was able to get it through. I think that's pretty impressive. I'm gonna try that more and more often, because right before this, I just watched half of a bottle of Army Speed Paint just evaporate. So this one felt a little nicer. If you happen to like this Mordheim shirt, I designed this and I sell this on my Bonfire store. So there's a link in the description. I bet that if you wore this to a game store, you'd walk out knowing a like-minded person is out there willing to play Mordheim with you. Since we're on the subject of channel support, I'd like to announce that the Mordheim Catacombs STL pack that I've been working on for the last, was it 4 months, is now available for early access with a $5 donation. I did this last time, and this really goes a long way to help support the channel. If this really isn't for you, in a couple weeks I'll be releasing this one for free, and I do that with all my STL packs on Patreon. They're organized in the collections tab, so you can find them there. If you find value in those STL packs, I would hope that you would consider supporting the Patreon for only $2 a month. We have a lot of people over there who are free members, and while I really appreciate them following along, that doesn't help support the channel financially. So I'm gonna thank my Patreon members real quick. So thank you so much to Leroy, Feder, Caracol, Old School FRP, Burning Heart Custom Creations, James, Anders, Hanover, Grim Drunk, Treborius, Andy, Corey, Mike, Nick, The Lich's Laboratory, Cabu, The Pessimist, Seb, Lori, Nuno, and Raph. Thank you guys so much. Let's get back to the video. I kind of brush over the painting steps. If you have any questions with any of the things that I ask, any questions in the comments, I answer every single one. One of the key things to this paint job was I kind of wanted to make this tree look like it was striped like a birch tree. So that was something I really wanted to nail and make sure to make look really good. So I did a couple of coats of paint to make sure that this stripe texture was really dialed in, and I called it good. I really am happy with this challenge. I added a section of onto the Discord, so if you feel like doing this challenge too, feel free to just roll it up and share your part of the hobby on the Discord server. The Discord's free. I probably should have mentioned that. So hopefully that encourages you to share your hobby over on the Discord. So I hope you have a good one.